Hi punters and welcome to bets.com.au's video preview of the race that stops the nation, the Melbourne Cup. My name's Todd Davey and joining me on the line is our Victorian racing expert Justin Darcy. And Justin, why don't you kick us off with the best bet of the Melbourne Cup?
So my best bet for the Melbourne Cup is the Aidan O'Brien trained Il Paradiso. Now he is a Northern Hemisphere 3-year-old, so he's classed as a 4-year-old in Australia. And we have seen that this is the right formula to win the Melbourne Cup the past couple of years, with Rekindling and Cross Counter both coming out to win the race. Now, he's run 2 starts ago in the Lonsdale Cup. That was a Group 2 level, and he ran Stradivarius, who's probably the world's best stayer, to a length and a quarter. And he ran DXB, who's been competing against Stradivarius and running in the best staying races in the world, and ran him down to a nose. I think that's pretty good form leading into a race like this. He had 53 kilos on that day. He then ran 5th of 8th in a St. Ledger. Now that was behind Magician, who is a superstar overseas, and that was about 5.3 lengths off the winner. A little bit disappointing on paper, but he carried a big weight that day, and he gets back down to 52.5 kilos for this race. I'm very keen on him, and you can still get $13, which is nice each way value here.
One horse the punters will be familiar with is Cross Counter, who barnstormed a victory last year to run down Marmello. What chance do you give the Godolphin horse of going back-to-back?
Look, if he gets the right run in transit, obviously we know he can handle Melbourne, he can handle Flemington, he can handle the big occasion. It's just a matter of whether he can carry this big weight. He goes up, I think it's 6 or 6.5 kilos from last year, so it's going to be a mighty effort for him to win the race. But I'm assuming he would have improved, and he has to have taken a lot of improvement to make sure that he is in the finish again, because he has been handicapped very heavily here.
Bets.com.au readers will know you love a Japanese raider, and you put Murder Glace on top in the Caulfield Cup. It seems he's been overlooked in the race that stops the nation, however, but you think he's capable of taking out the Melbourne Cup.
So I just think everyone sort of overlooked him because he hasn't ran past the 2,400 metres, and his first start at the 2,400 was the Caulfield Cup. So he now has to take a step up in distance at 800 metres, and of course that is a big question next to his name. But that win in the Caulfield Cup was just utterly dominant, and he ran away from that field, and Damien Lane almost sat up on the line, and I know he's very confident after riding in this morning out at Werribee, and he said that his gut feeling is that he will run out the 3,200, and if that's the case, then Japan are a huge chance to take out our 3 spring majors.
Racing enthusiasts will know that Melbourne Cup wins from Australian trainers have been few and far between. Danny O'Brien has the chance to buck that trend with Vow and Declare, and you think he's a sneaky chance. Tell us why.
Well, I thought his run in the Caulfield Cup was fantastic second up. He copped a check at the top of the straight, which was a bit of interference caused from Damien Lane and Murder Glass, but I think he's a horse that will only improve when he gets to Flemington. We saw him win an Eagle Farm Cup over 3,000 metres, and he did that in a hand canter. Now, if he can bring that type of run to a Melbourne Cup, obviously it's a massive step up in grade, but it shows that he can run out the distance. And I saw him do a piece of track work leading up to the Caulfield Cup with Craig Williams on board, and he was lengthening down that Flemington straight, and even past the post, it was like he was wanting more straight. It was a crazy piece of track work to watch, and I just think getting to Flemington now, third up, he's peaking for this race. 3,200 metres, I think if he can draw a soft barrier, I think the Australian punters will have something to cheer for at the top of the straight.
The Williams name is synonymous with the Melbourne Cup, with Nick and Lloyd taking in Latrobe. Now everyone loves a roughie, and you think this guy can win at odds. Tell us why.
The market for this year's Melbourne Cup is very compressed. That's mainly because there's so many legitimate chances in the race. Now he's about $21, which is actually one of the outsiders in the field, which is a bit of a surprise to most punters, I would think. This horse was set for the Melbourne Cup last year, and I was very keen on him actually. But he ended up having a little setback at Werribee and ended up racing in the McKinnon, where he ran trap for fools to a half-length second. Now, being set for the Melbourne Cup this year, Nick Williams was saying that he's been trained a different way to race under Australian staying conditions, which means he has been set for this race for a while now. He's only a little horse, but he has a bit of X factor about him. He has a nice turn of foot on him. I think he'll run the 3,200 out. And the staying races he's been running in overseas, such as an Irish St. Ledger against the likes of Cross Counter, he's carrying 61 kilos, 60 kilos. He gets into this race with 55. So he certainly gets his opportunity to utilise his turn down the Flemington straight.
Great work once again, Justin, and now punters of all shapes and sizes have something they can get on in this year's Melbourne Cup. Remember, you can read Justin's thoughts on the Melbourne Cup and every other race of the Cup Carnival at bets.com.au.